Okay, it's getting even more fun. This is chapter 13, lucky number 13. And Job, the wise man who's been through hell, I could identify with Job. Obviously, this Bible has been very well read. And when I tell people I'm a Bible scholar, and I've also read lots of other books too, they don't seem to really understand or take me seriously, especially when I tell them I've been through hell. I've also read Paradise Lost and I don't know about Dante's Inferno, and yeah, I read some other books too that have a whole different world view on the soul and chemistry, alchemy, witchcraft, and different philosophers, and Derrida, and breaking things down. Yeah, I like words. Especially cuss words. So, my eyes have seen all this, Job continues. My ears have understood. They've heard and understood it. What you know, I also know. Unless I don't, unless I'm left in the dark, right? What you know, I also know. It's just about human behavior. I am not inferior to you. I am not inferior to the president, to the pope, to any judge, to any lawyer, to any sister or brother, any friend, or any child, or any neighbor. I am not inferior. I am a human being who should have human rights. But I desire to speak to the Almighty and to argue my case with God, which I have done, and I have done it quite well. You, however, smear me with lies. You are worthless physicians, all of you. I went into the Mackenzie Willamette Hospital doing self-care to have a hysterectomy of all things, so I wouldn't develop cancer in my womb. And 10 days later, I'm driving myself back to the emergency room by myself with a complete bowel obstruction. And then I hit road construction. That was not a fun experience. And then while I was isolated in the hospital with no family members, other than one friend and my partner coming by to visit me, no children, my sister sent me a flower. That was really nice of her, sent some flowers, but hardly any comfort from this world, especially my family, harsh family. I came out of that, and I was told by Ralph Bradley that he heard from Indy Wexelblatt that I was in the hospital trying to commit suicide. That's a smear campaign if I've ever heard one. But of course, Ralph Bradley drinks a lot of alcohol, or at least he did. And then, of course, he would have a stroke and said he couldn't remember saying that. But I had my partner with me, so yeah, he did say it. Anyways, talk about smear me with lies. You are worthless physicians, all of you. Keep yourself healthy. Physician, heal thyself. Unless you really need a doctor and you need help, then go get it. But it's still risky. If only you would be altogether silent. Silence is a beautiful thing sometimes, just golden silence. For you, that would be wisdom. If Trump would just be silent, just shut the fuck up and listen to some wisdom. And quit blabbering all those people. Listen to that bozo, and then they go out and they do stupid things and die because of his advice or his statements. For you, that would be wisdom. Hear now my argument. Listen to the plea of my lips. Will you speak wickedly on God's behalf? God's not always nice. Neither is your mom, and neither is your dad, and neither is judges or lawyers or police officers or teachers, your friends. You're not always nice. You're all wicked. We're all wicked. We're wicked people. Okay. Will you show him partiality? Will you show God partiality? Do you get to pick and choose what God looks like and how God shows up? No, you don't. Will you argue the case for God? Yeah, I can argue the case for Satan even. I can take the devil's advocate side. I could plead for mercy on my enemies. I've shown him mercy. Would it turn out well if he examined you? It is well with my soul. I'm not perfect. I've admitted I'm not perfect. I'm a work in progress. So if you want to judge me, then judge yourself first. That whole he or she who is without sin casts the first stone. Could you deceive him as you might deceive men? Nope. You can't deceive yourself. You can listen to what lies you tell yourself until you believe them to be the truth. And then you can just stick with it, because if you're convicted in your spirit and your soul that what you know is the right truth, and you don't have any room to listen to anyone else's opinion or perspective, then so be it. He would surely rebuke you if you secretly showed partiality. That brings back memories. I can remember once my mom telling me I was her favorite. I was the baby of the family. I knew I wasn't her favorite. No, I really wasn't. My older brother was the golden child, and so was my oldest sister, golden child. I always had a perception of my second older sister as a black sheep. She was a little rebellious. And then my third older sister was also another golden child, and I was not the golden child. No, that's not my experience. I was the child that wasn't perfect. Would not his splendor terrify you? Yes. Yes. If you guys understood the splendor of the creator that could create any of this, it should terrify you. The Big Bang Theory, oh God, could you imagine if you took every star in the universe and brought it all together and put it in a little dark ball, but all that energy was inside the ball, and God, there was a form, but it was still dark. There hadn't been any light created yet, and God said, let there be light, and all of a sudden that ball went boom and exploded out into the universe. The suns, the planets, the energy. If you were put inside the middle of that ball and had all the stars brought down around you to center around you, you would not live. Your body would get disintegrated really, really fast. You could not be in the presence of some creator that could create all this. You just couldn't. Would not his splendor terrify you? Would not the dread of him fall on you? Your maxims are proverbs of ashes. Your defenses are defenses of clay. That's cool. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. The show must go on. It must. Defenses of clay. Yes, there was stories written before the Bible in clay tablets, written in cuneiform. Keep silent and let me speak. That would be nice. Let come to me what may. Why do I put myself in jeopardy and take my life in my hands? Well, because if you don't get to live. My life has been in other people's hands quite often. Though he slay me, yet will I hope. Yet will I hope in him. I will surely defend my ways to his face. When I meet God, I'm going to say, well, here I am. And he's going to say, welcome home. And I'm going to say, well, that was a fun ride. Why'd you create me the way you did? Indeed, why didn't you make me into a man, God? Why was I a woman and a mother? And why was I vulnerable to alcohol or men or anything in life? I mean, why didn't you just make me more invincible? Why did you make me so weird? Indeed, this will turn out for my deliverance, for no godless man would dare come before him. Listen carefully to my words. Let your ears take in what I say. Now that I have prepared my case, I know I will be vindicated. Can anyone bring charges against me? If so, I will be silent and die. That's where Jesus said, when you go into court, just be silent. They're going to kill you anyways. Only grant me these two things, O God, and then I will not hide from you. Withdraw your hand far from me, and stop frightening me with your terrors. Then summon me, and I will answer, or let me speak, and you reply. How many wrongs and sins have I committed? Show me my offense and my sin. Why do you hide your face and consider me your enemy? Will you torment a wind-blown leaf? Will you chase after a dry chaff? For you write down bitter things against me and make me inherit the sins of my youth. You fasten my feet with shackles. You keep close watch on all my paths, and by putting marks on the soles of my feet. So man wastes away like something rotten, like a garment eaten by moths. Wow. That's quite the encouragement. Actually, though, it's quite true, because if you think about humanity, 100 years from now, 200 years from now, 300 years from now, this world continues on, that generation that gets to live in the future, they're not really going to remember much of any one of us. They'll remember the big shots and the big events, but all this little detail stuff of individual lives, it'll probably get lost in the shuffle of their own detailed life. And then what we're going through right now will just be a thing of the past. To them, it'll be remote, and then they get to start it all over again and maybe deal with their own viruses and their own fears and their own issues with marriage and relationships and sex and kids and court and divorces. And the boyfriend, girlfriend, teachers, school, whatever, cultures, religions, it's all going to keep going around in cycles. Like it's like a Celtic knot or a Fibonacci sequence. It's just an exponential growth of crazy making.